Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode on the Fashion Fables podcast. Today, I am welcoming Maura, personal blogger based in the DC, Virginia area. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So let's get started. If you could talk a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So yeah, like you were saying, my name is Maura. I run a lifestyle blog called Always Maura. I started it in April of 2020. I'm currently a senior in college. It's my last semester in college, which is like scary, but kind of exciting at the same time. I'm originally from like the DC area, Virginia, Northern Virginia area. Obviously, like when I go home from school and stuff, like that's where I am. But yeah, I'm majoring in journalism, minoring in communications, just like trying to get my degree, but writing and blogging and sharing my fashion, sharing lifestyle, just like tips and advice and all that fun stuff is a huge passion of mine. So being able to do that on the side and just kind of start to make more or like make it something, if that makes sense, with like working with different brands and being able to connect with people like you and other Instagrammers has been so much fun. So that's like I'm 22.
That's awesome.
I forgot to put that in there.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's so similar to my story. I'm a public relations major, so communications.
Yeah.
And I literally love that because I kind of started my podcast for the same reasons as you. And instead of like doing like the blogger route, I guess I chose the podcast route, but I guess it's similar because I also have like a blog for my podcast. So super similar. And I just love inspiring people too. I think it's like so important to have that like positive outlet because sometimes you're on social media, you're scrolling and you kind of just find this like negative hole of like accounts that you're like, I don't resonate with these people or I feel badly about myself because of it. So I think the point of you starting your own is awesome because you can kind of like tailor it to what you believe in, but also you're gaining this community of amazing people who want to be inspired as well. So that's super cool.
Yeah. And also kind of like you were saying, like sometimes social media can be like, it's easy to compare yourself to others and it's easy to be like, I don't relate to this. You know, sometimes I see other people and they have like all of these super expensive products and all of these things that like huge brands are working with, which is amazing. Like I love that. But like being in college, I love being able to share content that like other people our age can relate to more. And just like sharing my own little tips and tricks, just like things I've learned in like such a short time of life, you know, but like being able to share that because it's definitely a weird phase of life right now, you know, your early 20s is like quite the experience. So
Yeah, I agree. And then going back to what you said about like being at school, like I'm at school too. I go to Penn State. And so I'm originally from New Jersey. And so it's like I'm not home. So I don't have my car to like drive to like the usual cafes I go to and like take my usual pictures and have that aesthetic. So you kind of just have to like make it work with like where you are because you can still find little ways to kind of incorporate photos and find spots that like will go with your feed. Do you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just have to be like innovative and creative, even though it's hard. And it kind of like helps you kind of overcome any doubts or fears you have when you go back to school because it's just like you just work around it and it ends up working out fine.
yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely like being in a new place, like when you're at your university, like sometimes you don't have all the things you have when you're at home.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like helps you to, like you said, overcome those things, but also just like think more outside the box. Like you'd be surprised like at the things that you can just come up with on the fly, that you probably wouldn't have even thought of if you weren't in that situation, you know?
Yeah, I totally feel the same. So, what inspired you to create your personal blog and what kind of outlet is it for you? We kind of touched on it, but if you gotta just have more to share or anything.
So when I was in high school, I actually used to watch this YouTuber all the time. Her name's Kaylin Nicholson. I don't know if you've heard of her, but I used to watch her YouTube videos and she was like a lifestyle YouTuber. Probably started watching her when I was in like middle school, like 14 years old. And oh my gosh, I just like wanted to be her, wanted to show my life the way that she was showing her life to everyone. And I always knew that at some point in my life, like, yeah, I'm gonna start a blog, but like later, you know, I was like really like I was the only person holding myself back. You know, the typical things like I was scared of what people would think. I didn't think I had important things to say or like didn't think people would really care and it would just like be a fun thing for a month and then I would like just not even come back to it. But
Yeah.
then 2020 happened and as I got older, I just was like caring less and less about like what others like thought of me. I was like, I have people I love in my life and that's all I need. Like I don't need to worry about like what another person's going to say or think about me if I'm doing what I love. If I'm not hurting anyone, then like who are they to like stop me, if that makes sense. So when 2020 happened and there was just like nothing to really do anymore, I was reading more, I was picking up little hobbies here and there. And that's when I was like, you know what, like this might be my time to start the blog that I've been pushing off for years and years. I finally in April of 2020, after like a month of peak quarantine, I was like, I've had enough. I need to be more creative and start this blog. So that's when I started the website for it. And then in July of 2020, that's when I started the Instagram account for it. I was going to have it be on like my personal Instagram, but I wanted to start like a new page just to like start fresh and also just like there are things like when you're putting yourself online, like obviously like I'm a lifestyle blogger. I share most of my life. I share like the majority of my life. But like there are some things like Instagram is always going to be a highlight reel. There are some things like and people in my life who would rather not be on like a public Instagram where there's like thousands or hundreds of people looking at it. So that's why I started like the Instagram page, which was really fun because I was able to like start fresh and curate all this new content for it and really just be creative with like every phase of my life, if that makes sense. Like when I look back on the Instagram, it's just so crazy to be like, yeah, I'm not the same person I was when I started this blog. But that's like, so I love doing that and being like, but that's still me. Like that's still who I was then. And that the way that I'm able to document that and show it to people is just so fun. And then also I just love like, I love writing like more like listicle type things like like my favorite trends right now and listing them all out. But I'm also a huge fan, like more recently I've been trying to be just more deep in my thoughts and like opening up conversation where like if I have a blog post and it's like something I went through that was difficult or something I want to be more vulnerable about, I can share that. And like just knowing that like if that could help someone else who might be going through a similar situation. So yeah, it's really just a huge creative outlet for me. And like, I feel like just its growth in the past like 2 years has been so amazing to watch. And just like the opportunities it's brought me is just like, really did not think like if you had asked me 2 years ago that this is where I would be now, I probably would have been like, yeah, like, okay, like, sure. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. And it just seems like you found this like community on Instagram where you can be yourself and you can feel your best and things like that. And for anyone listening, like that's super important. And that's kind of what you want out of any social media platform, not only Instagram, because sometimes you're just so scared. You're like, what are people gonna think? Like, is this gonna even work out? Like, or you're wondering, oh, what are my friends going to say about me? But like if they see you like doing something that is making you happy and stuff like that, then they're going to like be so proud of you and things like that. And it's literally not even about them because like if you like, I don't know, when I started my podcast, it was also during quarantine because I just felt like there was something more I could be doing. Like I love talking, public speaking, like all that stuff. I love designing graphics. And so I was like, this should just be something I just start and like we'll see how it goes. But like I never really had like the intentions of like having guests come on. You know what I mean? Like you never really know opportunities will come unless like you actually start it. And
Right.
I think it's just like once you like find out like kind of like your niche, like what your platform is really about, like it just becomes something that like you truly enjoy posting, connecting with people, and like it just brings you happiness and it becomes part of you. And
Yeah.
like it's something that makes you stand out too, because like you said, not everyone is willing to kind of do something like this, an extra endeavor that kind of just takes bravery and a lot of work. Like taking pictures is not easy, and you know what I mean, like and like all that stuff. So to be able to kind of like step out of your comfort zone and do something that scared you is also makes you just like proud to have the courage to do that, because not everyone does. And you and me both, like it's just like an adventure, and it's like you never know kind of what's going to lead to. So kind of just like maybe some advice I have for you is just to keep like doing what you're doing and like finding more of like you through what you post and things like that, finding more of your niche and kind of just like remembering that like it's not about anyone else and the followers that want to follow you are meant to be there. And I think that's just super important. But I'm so
Yeah.
proud of everything you've accomplished. And I think it's amazing that you have grown in your platform this much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's like I feel like for anyone listening, it's like if you have any little idea and you're like, I don't know if I should do it, I don't know, it's like just go for it. Like
Mhm.
you have like you were saying, you have no idea what might come out of it. And if you truly enjoy it and it's something you're passionate about, it's like, why not? You know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But like, what if it does? You know, it's like, what if it's like you're like, you know what I mean? It's just like you have no idea.
Be
So,
optimistic about it and like just like go for it. Like stop being nervous. Like even though it's so hard as you, just like be more of like the what if rather than like what if not. You know what I mean? So just like being positive is so important too. So I guess that leads into the next question. So how do you like balance your blog with being a full-time student? Do you feel more inclined to shoot content to break up your busy days, or is it kind of harder because of the workload? Like, I'm super curious, and I feel like a lot of bloggers are around our age, like that, those early 20s and stuff like that. So, how do you kind of just balance all this?
so it's definitely hard at times, especially like when I first started blogging. I didn't really know, like I started it, like I said, during quarantine, and then like summer happened right after that. So I wasn't really in classes. So definitely mixing in my school life was a little bit difficult just because, sometimes you like I have to sit down and write a paper for a class and then I'm kind of burnt out on writing and I don't want to write a fun blog post. So there was a time where I did take a step back from writing a little bit, or if I was writing pretty quick stories, just like advice pieces that were like not super super in depth but still like something that I wanted to like share with everyone. Um, I'm really big about like I want to be proud of what I am releasing. So I never want to like rush a deadline or like rush something just because I have to get it done. I want it to be like really thought out and really coming from like me and not just like this rushed thing. Um, so it was definitely hard for some time, but I feel like I really designated some time on like the weekends or during breaks, like winter break, summer break, those were, or like spring break, those were my times to really like sit down, plan out the things I wanted to do, plan out the content that I wanted to write, plan out the content that I wanted to shoot. If I was working with particular brands, figuring out like, okay, when is that? When am I going to be sent something from them? When should I be posting? And kind of prioritizing what needs to be done versus what can be put on the back burner for a little bit, so that it's actually well done and like I'm something I'm proud of,
Yeah.
because I always want it to be like I never want people to look at something and be like this, like even though people might not notice it, it's like I never want it to be just like, oh, I did that because I felt like I had to, I do this because it's a passion and because I want to do it. And so now that I am in my second semester of my senior year, I definitely have a way easier course load. So it's like really nice. I can just focus on mostly my blog for the like majority of my time. I love designating certain days of the week to shoot content. So I call them like my content days. So if I have different outfits that I want to shoot in, I think about different locations near me. I think about like my best friend, or like honestly like all my friends, like they're so so helpful because um they love taking pictures for me, and like I always take pictures for them too, but like they are just so supportive of my blog, which is makes it even more fun because then it's something I can do with them as well. But I also love to do things just like on my own. Like I will like put my tripod in my car, put a few outfits in my car, and then I just drive around. And I'm like, if I see a cute spot, I go take pictures, and then I kind of like save up all my content for the week, and then like I have things to post every day. So that way it makes it a lot more manageable if I have a busy in the week or if I have just a busier week overall. I already have a bunch of content that I was planning to share anyways. Um, I
Okay.
also try to utilize like my Instagram stories a lot too, like to be more just like raw and natural, showing what I'm actually doing throughout my days.
Mhm.
Uh, because I just like don't want to like hide that, like sometimes life does get busy. So if all I can do is just like respond to people in the comments or like talk to people on my Instagram story, then like that is okay. It's all about just like making sure that it's still fun and it's not like becoming a stress in my life. It's still, I never want it to be something that I don't enjoy. Like, so definitely just like utilizing the like free time you have, because like to me, even when I have free time and I'm doing like blog work, it doesn't feel like work because I'm so passionate about it. So just kind of like making sure that I'm like utilizing my time well, but also um if I need to take a step back at times, like that is going to be okay, and like everything's going to be fine, and it's not going to lead to a downfall or anything like that.
Yeah, I resonate so much with that. And I think that like the most important thing to know is like everyone is able to balance their own schedules like in a
Yeah.
way that works for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's
Yeah.
really no set way. And I think that's like the beauty of it because you can kind of find, I'm sure you've like found more of who you are through the whole process and stuff like that. And like it just makes you feel super good when like you know that the people who you care about are supportive of you as well. And I feel like that about my podcast too. So I think it's just awesome because like I said, if somebody that you care about knows you love something or enjoy something, they're more than likely gonna be happy for you and follow along on that journey and things
Yeah.
like that. And I also agree about like the not posting like just to post kind of thing because sometimes I'll be like, oh my goodness, like consistency is so important. Like I need to post like so many times a week. But then I remember like if it's not something that like I actually like enjoy or it's not something like of quality like you were saying and like of quality can mean something different to every person too. I guess it's like everything about this is super subjective to the person, but like
Right.
in my opinion, I guess like if it's not kind of worthy of posting, like I just like won't just because like it's okay. Like there's no like set amount of days you have to post and things like that. It's like followers will kind of be inclined to look at your posts even more probably if you're not posting like every single day. If it's like more like every 2 days or whatever it may be. Do you know what I'm saying? And like people all over the world who are content creators are also super busy. Like nobody's like perfect at posting at a certain time every single day. And so you kind of have to understand that like you're not alone if you're having a hard day. Another content creator is probably going through the same thing, but just another day. Do you know what I'm saying? So kind of just taking into perspective that like everything's okay. Like I'm a perfectionist, so like every little thing I'm like, I'm gonna cry, it's the end of the world, but it's really not. And like I've learned that. I feel like it takes like maturity too and like just like
Yeah.
growing up and getting older to learn that like it's fine, like you can just chill.
Right, literally. And also it's like interesting too, like just with like algorithm or oh my gosh, algorithms and like just social media in general, like there's some people try to have all these like rules you should follow for like success, but it's like
Yeah.
there's no like there's no one path to success, because if that were the case, everyone would be doing it and everyone would be successful. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone has a different journey, and so it's just like there doesn't need to be, kind of like you're saying, these like stressful things that we're setting on ourselves, because um you know you had that's part of like showing part of your life. Sometimes you're not going to be on social media every waking moment of your life.
And like
um
you shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? Because like there's other responsibilities in life and things like that. There's no kind of like mold of like when you
yeah,
should post. Like algorithms are always changing on Instagram. So it's literally like it's like impossible to even keep up. So like post what you
literally.
want. Like honestly, a really good way to kind of get your posts more out there, I would say, is by like sharing them on your stories or like having like your followers share them too. But like everything is going to work out and like sometimes you just have to take a step back and just like know that you're working hard like and like at the end of the day like your passion is going to be like more important than like not posting for one day because you're still consistent even if you just can't manage to post for like one day. So
Right, exactly.
so how do you like shoot and plan your content and what is your favorite type of content to post?
So I love Pinterest. Pinterest is probably where I find most of my inspiration. Um, but also like, when you scroll through TikTok, when you're scrolling through any social media, like you can see like some of the things that are more trendy.
Yeah.
I love recreating like Pinterest pictures or recreating pictures that are just like really like aesthetic and Pinteresty, you know, like because it's fun, it's a challenge, and because like even though they might be the same type of picture, they still look different, and it's just like fun little phone photo challenges. I love doing stuff like that. Um, I usually try to plan my content around like my outfits, so I always try to like shop my closet. I love shopping and I love trying out new clothes and trying out new trends and all that fun stuff, but it is important to like also look at what you have, and especially being a college student, like I am by no means made of money. So like it's definitely fun to just like shop my own closet, look at things I have and play around with different styles and different pieces that I have to create new outfits, to then like share them with my followers, which I always think is super fun because it's like, you know, that I that's more realistic, you know, like we were saying, it's not realistic to have like a different outfit every single day, you know, like that's just like it's not the case for everyone, and that's okay, which makes it more fun, you know, playing around with what you have. Um, so I usually shoot content either with my friends or I'll do it by myself with my tripod. And I have like a few like prime locations. So like I always like choose locations that are very generic and could be used multiple times. So for example, I love shooting in parking garages because there's so many different aspects to a parking garage and you could take so many different kinds of pictures there. And it's like no one would know that it's the same parking garage. You know what I mean? It's like so it's really versatile. I try to utilize like the things around me to their fullest extent. But also try to find new places. I'm huge into exploring where I live. I hate when like, or it just like breaks my heart when people feel bored where they are. Like, I completely get that. Sometimes it can get boring where you are, but you know, just like always looking for like, oh, there's a new coffee shop that opened up downtown. Like, let me try that today. You know, like doing things like that and like shooting content at those places because it makes it more fun because not only is it a new experience for me, but it's like, you know, then it's like I'm just learning more about the place that I'm living at. You know what I mean? Um, I mostly shoot like Instagram, like it's mostly just like pictures. I've been trying to get more into Instagram Reels because I love shooting videos, doing
Mhm.
like outfits in motion, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm trying to get more into just like video content. I'm like trying to teach myself more about like video creation. Um, but yeah, so that's like what I'm trying to learn now currently.
Like as soon as you were like, if there's a new coffee shop that opens downtown, like go, because that's literally the case for me. There was a new coffee shop that opened downtown at my school, and I literally ran to it just because like I also like I don't like ever feeling bored. And I feel like when people do say they're bored, it's because like they're not using what they have to their full advantage. Like, yes, we're this, I guess this just goes for people like that are in college or like live away, but like, yes, you can feel isolated, you're away from home, you know, you have to make new friends and stuff like that. But also like enjoy where you are because like it's temporary and like there's so many things that you can truly do. Like if you just like look around a little bit, like there's even just like if it's a park or something and things like that, and just be grateful for like where you are in that moment and just find ways for you to like make the best of it, like go somewhere with your friends or get coffee like you were saying and things like that. And also like taking pictures. I'm so big with pictures. Like my camera roll has over like 30,000 photos and I just it's horrible, but like I can't stop and I probably won't stop because it's just like who I am. Like I just always take pictures, like whatever. Because like I just always like to remember what I did and it's just like a memory and like whatever.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree.
yeah, so I think it's awesome like that you just like take pictures and you just enjoy the moment and you find new spots and things like that. But like you said, like you just like do it because you love it and that's what it comes down to. um and I think it's just like awesome for you to kind of just like want to explore more and kind of want to get more into video and things like that because like it's never a bad thing to be versatile and kind of like have
I know.
new ways to post and things like that because your followers will be surprised and you'll get new, you know what I mean? So it's just remaining authentic and genuine and just being yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So what is your personal fashion style and like how do you express yourself through your outfits and what you wear?
So I feel like my fashion, like my style changes all the time. Like I feel like I can't put like one name, like, or just one specific style, because I feel like, in the summertime I'm way more of a like boho girl. Like I love like super flowy, super just like bohemian vintage styles. I probably would say I'm more of a like, if I oh my gosh, this one's so hard for me to answer. I'm like thinking about all my outfits that I have right now. Definitely more like your typical like street style, like everyday,
Yeah.
like
Minimalistic.
minimalistic but like casual cute, like
Yeah.
wearing like basic items but like dressing them up. I feel like that's like me on a day-to-day basis. But I feel like I absolutely love just like classic vintage timeless, like mock necks and like sweater vests and just like very like kind of like 70s 80s vibes, or like just like I don't know, like the different decades. I feel like it just really depends on like the occasion or the day, or even like honestly like the season, because like I said, like during the summer I feel like I'm way more like boho chic, you could say, I guess.
No, that's
um
awesome. You don't have to have like a set. Like this is more of just like a who are you through what you wear. So it's really just like what you think. But I also agree, like I love staples. Like I think it's so important. And sometimes people are like, oh, I have nothing to wear. But like really, like if you just look, like you have to be creative sometimes because like you said, like not everyone has all the money in the world to be spending money on everything that they see is cute because like we would get everything like so you kind of
yeah.
just have to like wear like a sweater but dress it up with a different scarf or a different pair of pants, different pair of shoes, you know what I'm saying, like a different necklace. Like it can be like so simple if you just kind of like think for a second and not just like assume that you have nothing to wear, because you probably do. And like nobody really cares that much about like what you're wearing, so like don't feel like afraid to express yourself in the way you want, because everyone is doing their own thing anyway. So like people might like look at it, but no one's, like over analyzing what you're wearing because they're focused on themselves.
Right. And also, my biggest thing too is like when I am shopping for new pieces, like thinking about things that I don't already have. It's so easy to like, just like rebuy things you're comfortable wearing because you're
You
like, oh,
like gravitate towards it.
yeah, you're like, I know that looks great on me. But like when I am out shopping, I try to look for items that's like, okay, like I feel like I could wear something like this. What do I have that I could style it with? What do like how many outfits could I make with this one thing? If it's going to be an investment, like how many outfits could I make with this new item?
Mhm.
Um, and just like thinking about those things before I even purchase the item, because then it's like, okay, like do I really like need this in my closet? Or is it just like a one time like, oh, I'll take like a super cute picture in it and then I'll never wear it again, like, you know what I mean? It's like, thinking about um
Yeah.
like being creative even when you're like out shopping too.
Yeah, me too. I'll like look at something, but then like I'm pretty more smart about it. Like I'll be like, yeah, I probably won't wear this more than once, or I might not even like wear it at all. Maybe it'll just look cute, like sitting there in my closet. Like,
Exactly.
so you just have to be like smart about it. But so, what is some advice you would share for someone looking to find more of their style and fashion sense?
I definitely would say utilize, like if you have people you follow on Instagram and you love their style, like really go in depth and be like, okay, what is it about their style that you like? Is it their shoes? Is it the pants? Is it the way they style their hair? Is it their jewelry? Like
Mhm.
think about the things that they're doing, or that they're wearing that you gravitate towards. And then like go into your own closet, see what you have, if that relates to any of the things that you like. And if you don't, um, donate it. Like I love going through my clothes and getting rid of things and like really just sit and go through and be like, okay, if I'm not wearing this piece, like sell it, donate it, and then you can like make some room in your closet to then bring in those new pieces to then have more fun. Like I was saying earlier, I would definitely utilize Pinterest, or I know the app like We Heart It, which is like similar to Pinterest. Those are huge things that I use to just like find more inspiration.
Yeah.
Um, and then just like when you're out, like that way, like when you are out shopping, or even if I'm a huge fan of thrifting as well. You can find you can find what you're looking for. I know sometimes people have a hard time shopping because they're like, I don't even know where to start. But if you kind of like take time before and be like, okay, these are the things I like, these are the things I'm looking for. And then you go out, you could find so many things that you weren't even expecting or that
Yeah,
you might have missed had you have not done that.
I agree. Yeah. That's awesome advice. I kind of want to get more into thrifting only
Yeah.
because like I just am an impatient person. So I might not be like the best, like looking through, like, I don't know. But in theory, like I probably like I say I wouldn't, but I probably would just because like I love to shop too. And like I could spend hours in the store. So I don't really think I would see an issue with it. But yeah, I think for like inspiration wise, I think everyone should kind of just like take a step back from the trends and from what you keep seeing on like Instagram and stuff like that. Like Pinterest is amazing because you can get so many ideas and just make it your own rather than like feeling like you need to actually like copy it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like being original, I feel like is like way better because people will kind of like see you as a trendsetter and like whatever.
Right.
But I think people should honestly just like take a step back from all that and just realize that like what do I actually like to wear? Like everyone has different bodies, everyone's gonna look different in different things. So like what are you wearing that's gonna make you feel your best and kind of just going from there. And then when you go to stores, kind of just like find similar pieces and
Mhm.
things like that. And like a lot of cute things are definitely affordable. Like just
Yeah.
because some item you see is like over $100, like you can find it in another store for cheaper. And like for example, I did that with like these Steve Madden booties I have.
Yeah.
I saw them in Gucci and I was like, yeah, no way. Like,
You're like, I
they're like
cannot.
20 grand. And we're like, yeah, so what is this now? So I go to Steve Madden and their house literally it looked the same. Like obviously there was Steve Madden brand, but I was like, this is so perfect. And like I love them and I found them cheaper. So that was like, it just made me happy to know that like not everything is like so expensive.
Yeah. I love finding like dupes and stuff like that. I'm a huge fan. All of my friends are always like we always mess about it. I'm a huge fan of H&M. H&M is like probably my favorite store on the
I like
whole
it too.
planet Earth. Just
Yeah.
because they have so many, they have basics, they have, athleisure, they feel like they have just everything you need. Um, and it's just so easy to like there's so many different styles in there and all of the pieces in there you can like play around with so much. um so yeah, I feel like they have a lot of like stuff where it's very affordable but it looks like something you would see in like like a name brand fashion, like might be really expensive, but no, I got it at H&M. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
exactly. There was one at my college, like downtown, and I was like, this is perfect. Some
yeah.
stuff is literally like 9.99 and it's so cute and I love it. And I'm like, all right, great.
Amazing.
So now like what are some goals you have for your future? It can be with your blog, life, literally anything, your aspirations.
So I definitely, like I was saying earlier, it's definitely like a weird phase of life right now.
Yeah.
Kind of just like a waiting period, like just, you're almost a full adult, but then like you're not, and then like you're looking for a job, all this stuff. Um, I obviously would love my blog to be my way of living at some point in my life. That is a huge goal of mine. I feel like when I look back and reflect, like even going back to like when I was in middle school and high school, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a blog one day. Like that was always the dream, to like make some sort of a living off of it. Um, and like being my own boss. I've always been a huge, like I've always wanted to work from home and like do that whole thing, which is crazy because I feel like I wanted that before like remote working was even like a thing, really.
And it
Um,
just worked out that you had to be home because of COVID. Yeah.
right, exactly. And so obviously like those are more like long-term goals, like especially like with my blog, like that's like just a long-term goal of mine. But I'm just hoping that within the next few months of like graduating and like finding my first job, that I'm still doing something that I love, something that is in regards to writing, editing, or like in that communications realm, where I can really show my creativity in like some in a business or a publication somewhere. I'd love to be like an editor of a publication someday too. That's another long-term goal of mine. So yeah, just a lot of like lots of things to look forward to, but just like a weird time with like waiting right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I love that. And it's awesome that you, even though you're not like so specific about like what you see for your future, you still have like a bunch of goals and ideas. And I
Yeah.
think through that, you're going to find what you want to do and it's going to narrow down, become more specific. And it
Yeah.
might not make sense right now, but like one day everything's just going to click and like fall into place. Like you're almost like graduating and stuff like that. So kind of just take all of this in because like you're only in college for a little bit longer and I'm only 19, so I'm a sophomore. So I still have like 2 years, but like still like it goes so fast, even like for
Yeah.
me, for you. And so like I feel like and everyone's in the same boat. So kind of just like remember like yourself and who you are and like what you really see yourself doing. And then like it'll just like everything will be amazing and it'll work out. But also like I've always wanted to be my own boss too, because like not that I like don't like listening to other people. It's like I've had to all my life, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
professors and like I don't know, bosses, like working, whatever. But
Right.
like it just seems like so awesome to kind of just like be the navigator of your own like job and your own path and like to be able to make those decisions for you also makes you like wiser and more like savvy for like I don't know, eventually one day when you want to like buy a house or like you know what I mean? Just like
Right.
I just feel like it just makes so much sense for me at least and like I could totally see myself like being my own boss and stuff like that. But regarding your blog, I think that's like an awesome goal and that will definitely kind of just make you more passionate about it since you do have these like eventually making it like your full-time thing. Like I would also love that for myself too. Obviously that is a long-term goal too, like I feel like similar, but
Yeah.
it's awesome and just stay on your path and everything's gonna be good.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
Yeah, well, finally, what are some ways for like my listeners to just stay in touch with you and keep up with your content and stuff like that?
Definitely you can follow me at always.mora on Instagram. I post on there pretty regularly. And then that's where you'll get all my information for, like any recent blog posts, anything like that. And then I also have a Pinterest as well. It's the same, it's always.mora, and then TikTok as well. I usually like if you go on my Instagram, like all of that stuff is on there. And I would love to connect with all of you, like your listeners and all of you guys listening. So just like if you come over to my page, just like comment on something, DM me, and like I'd love to chat and like know that you're from here. This has been so fun.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was so much fun. I loved learning about you and I can't wait to keep in touch.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.